We are back. 2 weeks off. Just like Christmas break used to be. Remember that, Corey? Way back in the day. Let's get after it. Welcome to another episode of McKale Madness, the best and only Arizona-only basketball podcast in the world. This is your guy, Corey Williams. I am Saul Bookman. We appreciate you joining us today as we get prepped for the Alabama swing as we take on Auburn on Saturday, followed up by a week after that, Alabama in Birmingham. So we're going down south with it. You ever been to the south there, Corey?
I've been down there a few times, not really Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. I mean, layovers in Atlanta, but not too familiar with the South. But I've passed through to get the gist of it.
Okay. Yeah. I get the gist of it. It's a good way to put it. I've been through the Atlanta area. I actually used to live in Pensacola, Florida, which they used to call Southern Alabama anyway. And so I'm very familiar with the territory. And listen, there's a lot of passion in that territory for football, but basketball has definitely seen an upswing, especially in the SEC in the last, 10 years. If you don't count Kentucky, definitely in the last 10 years, the entire conference has kind of seemed like they've picked it up in addition to the Big 12. And it's going to be on display here on Saturday at home. The highest profile non-conference game for Arizona as they take on Auburn. Before we get to that, though, a couple things to note. Arizona obviously took care of Denver and Norfolk State in the last week and a half. Ivan Karchenkov, questionable for Saturday because of that rolled ankle he had against Norfolk State. So we'll see if he comes out and he's able to go. Hopefully he is, because Auburn's a unique kind of matchup. But you did the game against Norfolk State. Any big takeaways that you had before we get into like the deep dive of Auburn?
No big takeaways. People who do what they do did what they did in that game. I think
That's
fool's gold. No, it's if you would allow. See, you got to know my formula.
Do what they do, and they did what they did.
You got to follow my analysis. I bring you along. I give you the third grade analysis, then I take it up to collegiate level, and then I advance to my doctorate. So third grade.
That's what we call taking people from the known to the unknown.
I like it. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing. So what I mean by that is, did Arizona rebound? Of course they did. They had a size advantage in the paint. Did Arizona dominate on the glass? Of course they did. They had a size advantage on the paint. Did Arizona defend the perimeter well? No, not in the first 14, 15 minutes of that game. We were looking at a 2-point ball game with about 6 minutes to go. Norfolk State was knocking down threes. They had some guys that were getting loose, but a lot of that was adrenaline. A lot of it was, them playing their best basketball for as long as they could, and eventually Arizona wore them down. So were there big takeaways from the game? Not really. Two big takeaways that I had, though, well, I should say notable takeaways. One is I watched Jaden Bradley be on absolute cruise control. He played hard on defense, didn't give a damn about offense. Had 2 shots with like 14, 15 minutes to go in the game. So seeing him not care about stats and only care about, is my team developing, who needs to have a good game, because it's not me. Let me just sit back and run the team. I'm not going to slack on defense, but on offense, I'm not. He didn't even look at the rim, Saul. Like, he was just out there hooping. And if you ask most people, yes, Koa Pete is a handful and he exploded on Florida for 30. But if you ask most people, they would tell you Jaden Bradley's our most steady weapon over the last 2 years. And I would say that even on last year's team with Caleb Love, Jaden Bradley was a guy who early on steadied the ship. So when I watched him, it actually made me excited. And I'll tell you why. Now we're moving a little bit further into my analysis. It proved to me that this season is about so much more for him. We have a game where I could easily go out and get 25. He's not concerned with his path to the NBA. He's not concerned with scouts. He's not concerned with points per game. He's not even concerned with minutes per game. He's concerned with formulating the most balanced, effective team he can possibly have so that this team is capable of getting everything ticked off that they want to get ticked off in terms of conference championships, tournament championships, and a Final Four berth. So watching Jaden Bradley play big picture basketball, I hadn't seen that in a long time. So I was impressed by that.
I will say this. If Jaden Bradley is able to get Arizona to the Final Four, I think he will have the most impressive run, 2.5-year run of any player in U of A history because of the way he was calculated about his approach, especially this year. And you have seen it. Even in the UCLA game, it wasn't quite going well for him. And but he wasn't forcing anything, right? Like he just wasn't forcing anything until, all right, we're kind of on the ropes a little bit right here. 5 minutes left to go. Let's go. And he put it to work, got the dub, and they moved on. And it was like clockwork.
I like to call him the Trunk. That's my new nickname for him, the Trunk.
Why is that?
Because you from the 90s, when it get crazy, sometimes when it get crazy, you gotta go to the trunk, and JB is that dude, man. Don't make us go to the trunk. You know what I'm saying? If it gets hectic, gets crazy down in the stretch, we can always go to the trunk, and that's when people act right. So that's my nickname for him. I call him the Trunk.
And Chicago in you right there.
Hey, it was a nice quiet night at the club. We didn't have to go to the trunk. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
That's wild, man. Oh yeah. I mean, listen, yeah. I mean, because what old boy in White Man Can't Jump say? Hey, that's all right. I'm going to my car.
Come back.
Shoot all of y'all. All of y'all.
Oh, I met him. Man. I met him in UCLA, and I said, dude, that was iconic. How do you steal a scene? And we're getting off topic. How do you steal a scene with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, and you steal the scene? That was beautiful.
And usually, like we've seen other athletes in movies before, and they don't really terrible. They're terrible. It legit felt like I was in the cage with him when he said that.
Because we all know dudes at the park that as soon as things don't go their way, they want to ruin everything. So Marcus Johnson I mean, if you haven't seen that movie, White Man Can't Jump, Blockbuster's shut down. So I don't know how you're gonna get your hands on it. You had to find out who's streaming it. But back in the day, I tell you, go get the VHS. But that's a classic White Man Can't Jump right now. You'd be surprised. Certain people that have huge gaps in their basketball history, Justin Spears, they need to get caught up. They need to get caught up on a lot of stuff.
Justin's definitely seen White Man Can't Jump.
Justin hadn't seen New Jack City, Saul.
Oh no!
You see? I'm serious.
But White Man Can't Jump is like iconic. Like New Jack City, I can see how that might slip. I mean, I can see how it could slip. I mean, listen, not everybody understands rockabye, baby. You know what I mean? Like,
and Jalen Hurts is out here. His pregame outfits are all stolen from that movie. Like everything Jalen Hurts wears to the game is Nino Brown and G Money. But people ain't calling him on it because the generation is too young. I'm like, I've seen that outfit before. You come to the stadium with the Kango on backwards. You Nino Brown, bro. You ain't fooling nobody.
Hey. Am I my
we are so far off topic right now.
So far off topic. There's some people right now that might be like, what are they talking about right now? What about Jaden Bradley?
They with us.
Listen, you're right. He gets into his bag when he needs to, but he has been a fantastic leader on the floor and trying to manage everybody. Mo Krivas also a solid game, 20 points, tied a career high with 20 points. And if he would have gotten one more rebound, he would have been the first. Well, he would have been he would have had a double 2010 game since the first one since Ballo in 2024, I believe. So he
And
was one
yeah,
rebound shy though. But overall, listen, they Norfolk State, like you said, came out fast, but it didn't really matter. They could have come out with their hair on fire. It's still everything was going to even out eventually at some point, and then Arizona was going to be off to the lead. It's a little different though, because it gives you kind of a glimpse on why the NCAA tournament is so impactful and the environment is so impactful and how much that could change. Because if you take that start that Norfolk State has and you put it against Arizona in the tournament, and I'm not saying this necessarily this team, but let's just say any team in America in a NCAA tournament setting, all of a sudden that hot start starts to get under the skin a little bit, starts to unnerve you a little bit. Like, hey, are these dudes like this for real? And you can see how upsets happen. So
yeah. I mean, that start, if Arizona doesn't put that run on right before the half and push that lead out to like 13 or 15 or whatever it was at halftime, if they don't blow that game from 2 points to 15 and you lose a starter to a rolled ankle, I mean, yeah, those are how you go in at the half, down a starter. Maybe guys are wondering, but this is where I think Tommy's strength of schedule comes in. Put your guys in heated moments so that when the unexpected happens, you literally have a reserve of situations to fall back on, and you can look your guys in the face and say, guys, we've been here before. So
for
I
sure.
think that's what this non-conference scheduling is about. Create scenarios where they can lean on later on in the season.
For sure. Listen, folks, you see it on the screen right now. Today is our day of giving, just to give you a heads up for Big Brothers, Big Sisters. So any donation you make contributes to the cause. And as we hit these thresholds, Corey and I will offer up something valuable to all of you. So as you can see, if we hit the $50 mark, we will have a special guest on our next episode. $100 mark will lead Corey to open up 3 scholarships for 3 lucky kids in the Tucson area to be able to participate in the Tucson Summer Pro League this upcoming summer, which is fantastic. $200 mark, Corey and I will do a watch along for an upcoming game. So when he's not working for ESPN or his other day job, and I'm not doing my stuff, and we have an open opportunity, we will jump on one of these watch alongs and give you some more insight for a full game. How about that? And then we have a special, unique, custom theme song that you guys might want to take a listen to if you hit the $300 mark. And finally, I couldn't think of anything else, so I said, you know what? I'm a big fan of the show Hot Ones, so we'll do the Hot Ones challenge. I'll have 6 wings, and they'll all range in severity of the Scoville meter. And I'll do that on one of the shows coming up. So those are the thresholds. If you like to participate, please donate by using the donate link in our chat. And we would very much appreciate it. And Big Brothers, Big Sisters is a tremendous entity. I have a little brother. It's been a phenomenal experience to be able to affect somebody's life in a positive way and just be there as a mentor. And so, there's a lot of kids out there that could use that. So please think about donating to the cause. And if you do so, we'll hook you up. How about that? All right. Let's get to Auburn, because Auburn is a good team. But they also have not had a signature win. So they're looking for that signature win, right? They kind of got it a little bit against Pitino's St. John's squad this past week. But here is their resume so far. They beat St. John's, who was at the time, they were number 14 in the country. And they beat Oregon, who was unranked. And then their key losses. They lost Bruce Pearl to start off the season. A week before the season started. And the reins got handed over to his son, who is now coaching the team. They lost to Houston on a nail biter of a game. They had multiple opportunities to win that game. They lost by 1, and then they got blown out by Michigan. It wasn't even close. Though that's their resume. Overall, they're a good team. I don't know yet how elite they are or can be, but they do have a single player, to me, that is one of the best players in the entire country, and that is Keyshawn Hall. I'm a big fan of Keyshawn Hall. He played, for those of you who don't remember, he played for UCF last year, and the guy's got all the game. He looks like, to me, Corey, and you tell me if I'm wrong, he feels like a mix between like a Stacey Ogman and a Michael Beasley. That's kind of, like, he's got handle. He can hit from the outside. He can take you to the rack. He can hit you down low. He's got a lot of versatility. Keyshawn Hall is one of the better players in America. He was the Big 12 newcomer of the year last year, and he's also on his world tour. And that's what I'm calling players who are now at their fourth school in 4 years. They're on that world tour scholarship, okay? Because he had played for 3 other schools before getting to Auburn as well. So your thoughts overall on Auburn?
Auburn is a team that doesn't have any bad losses. They lost some games on a neutral site that could have went either way. The blowout against Michigan, okay, you can scrap that. But their losses are to tournament teams. Their losses are to teams that have Final Four ambition. When you talk about Michigan and St. John's and Houston, all teams that are going to try to make a deep run. So they don't have to hang their head about anything. The Houston game was crazy, and there's no shame in losing to Houston. I think Kelvin Sampson will have his team in position to make a deep tournament run. But Hall, he's a problem. And I'll tell you why he's a problem. He's a problem for a couple of reasons. One, he's insanely talented. I liken his game to a Jamal Crawford, if you will.
Ooh.
The handle, the wiry body, the off the dribble, the spot up, the go to the rack. He's lanky, and he could just flat out hoop. Like, he's a problem.
He's a little thick too.
Yeah, he's bigger than that. But I'm just saying the way he handles the ball and the way I'm talking more like his lankiness and his agility. Here's the problem that he presents. One, his obvious talent. Saul, he's going to be guarded by a freshman. Take your pick. Either Burries or Krishemkov with a bad wheel may be out there trying to guard this guy. That's not good. I'll repeat, that's not good. How Arizona addresses him will be everything in this ballgame. Does somebody play solid defense? Has Burries learned enough to guard an elite college scorer in just 6 games of his own college career? That's really going to be tough. Krishchenkov, same thing. Newcomer, coming off a rolled ankle, fighting through screens, moving those feet, ISOs, one-on-one, transition, guy trying to get downhill. Like, Arizona defensively can't put their best defender, Jaden Bradley, on the best scorer. That's just a recipe for disaster. So Bradley will not be allowed to guard him unless they go dribble handoff motion and somehow, Jaden ends up on him for a few plays throughout the game. But by and large, I don't think it would help Arizona to put their only point guard, their best distributor, and in crunch time, their best leader and scorer on a guy who's that active. Yeah. So I'm really going to sit back, popcorn in hand, to see who answers the bell defensively, because getting him off rhythm and keeping him off rhythm, I believe, is the key to victory for Arizona coming up against Auburn.
Yeah. So for those of you that might recall, he dropped 22 on Arizona last year when he played for Central Florida. I watched him. He was, he only lasted, I believe, 2 days in the Big 12 tournament, but I watched both those games very closely, and I mean, he did everything he could to try and beat Kansas by himself. Like, he was
insane.
He was cooking. He really was. And so I've always been a big fan. And when he hit the portal, I was like, man, I wonder if Arizona would be interested in a kid like that, because, man, his game is really, really nice. He projects very well. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't test the waters at all and go to the NBA, but he's a good player. The thing that I did notice about Auburn, though, is they do have a tendency not to ignore him, but to kind of, play their own ball without him. And I think if they get into a case in McKale where they don't take advantage of his skill sets more than maybe they have in the past, they will lose. They will absolutely lose, because I don't think those other 4 are nearly as talented as Keyshawn Hall. They're good, but they're not Keyshawn Hall good. And I think Keyshawn Hall is the kind of guy that could take over a game flat out. I will say this, matchup wise, Arizona doesn't have a clear cut matchup for Keyshawn Hall. And not many teams do, but because of the size, because of the length, because of the versatility, the skill sets, and he's a tremendous passer too. He's a good facilitator when need be. He won't just chuck up shots. He will also get other guys involved. He makes some nice behind the back passes. I've seen a couple around the big man posted up kind of passes, and he's a good player overall. So Keyshawn Hall is going to be a difficult matchup for Arizona for sure. Outside of that, though, I do like the matchup for Arizona overall, especially in the front court when you're talking about Krivas, Awaka, and Koa Pete. I don't think that they really have the kind of size and skill to be able to match up with them. When you look at the front court matchup between these guys, and before we even get to the front court matchup, let's just ball up top. Let's look at the matchups overall, especially when we're talking about the starting five. The projected matchups right now would be Jaden Bradley versus Tahad Pettiford, Braden Burries versus Kevin Overton, Ivan Kurchenkov, Keyshawn Hall, Koa Pete, Elijah Freeman, Mo Krivas, Keyshawn Murphy. To me, Keyshawn leads them in not only points per game, but also rebounds, and his assist to turnover ratio is pretty solid. Pettiford is a good player, not tremendous. He's a nice little lefty if you like lefties. Overton, kind of your slasher, kind of bucket getter, good defensively. Elijah Freeman, just your normal kind of 3-and-D kind of player. He's good around the rim at times. And then Keyshawn Murphy, he's a big. That's kind of my overall. That's kind of my overall.
He just said he's a big.
He's a big. No disrespect, but he's
no.
He's
I
not
think
the kind of guy that jumps off the page.
I think Arizona can start that game with the inside-out attack, trying to get Krivas going, trying to get Toby going, and I don't know that Auburn can stand up to what Arizona was able to do against UConn and what Arizona was able to do against Florida, and that's just be big in the paint and dominate. When that ball's on the glass, guys are pushing their way to it, getting offensive rebounds, second and third efforts, and you go on the road, hostile environment against a big team, you almost have to shoot your way through that game because you're not going to win it in the trenches. And to be honest with you, every coach knows you're only as good as your big man. And if you go on the road and your big is getting early foul trouble, you might as well start up the bus because it's a wrap, because it's layup city and you can't. Now you got to go zone, or you got to do some gimmick defense, or you got to put out a second or third string big man for a whole number of minutes. And that's just when things really get out of hand. So if I'm Auburn, come out, try to start hot. But if I'm Arizona, straight body blows to start the game. Get the ball inside, see what's going to happen. Is it a tight whistle? Nationally televised game. What officiating crew do you have? How are they going to call it? Because if Arizona can get some early fouls on the interior, that's going to do real damage over the course of the game.
I will say this: as much as we've glorified Keyshawn Hall and the mismatch, I don't know if they necessarily have a matchup for Koa Pete either. Especially if we get Koa Pete. Koa's showed up in the bigger games, right? Like kind of like Jaden has too, right? They just know when to turn it on. And Koa, to me, sometimes I almost feel like Koa kind of mimics a little bit of Jaden Bradley, where he doesn't really turn it on all the way when they're playing some of these lesser teams. But when they play the big dogs, he ratchets it up. Do you see the same thing?
Yeah, when you've had the early success that Koa Pete had on the national stage, when you've had the big game ending success that Jaden Bradley has had, you realize you're not playing against a matchup. And this is where Tommy's really good at developing players. You realize I'm playing against a strategy. Okay, Jaden, they're forcing you left. They're not going to let you use the ball screen. Okay, Koa, they're double teaming as soon as you take your first dribble. Tommy's coaching these guys to the strategies that they are going to be facing, because let's just be honest, there's not ever going to be a matchup where a guy's like, yo, I got Koa Pete. I don't need no help. I got Jaden Bradley, clear out. I can keep him out. these coaches are going to be developing strategies to slow down Jaden and Koa, but both of these guys are cerebral enough to recognize the strategy. Hey, they're forcing me baseline into the trap. Hey, they're double teaming me off the dribble. They know the next play. They know the next step. So Auburn is definitely going to come with a strategy for Koa Pete, because you're right. In the paint, they don't have a defender that they can just leave alone and be like, yeah, you got Koa one-on-one, you're good. He's just too good for that. So it'll be interesting to see what strategies they use. And the great coaches, and to be honest with you, going back a little ways, the fact that Auburn gets away from itself and can go up and down the court for like 5 straight minutes and just chaos and not play organized ball, you can call it urgency, you can call it focus, you can call it concentration. I call it coaching. That's what you lose with Bruce Pearl not on the sideline. The ball has to have intent. Every possession you see Tommy, Mick Cronin, all the elite coaches stomping their feet, pointing and directing what should be going on with the ball. And that's not to knock Auburn's coach. I'm just saying Bruce Pearl's a different animal. They don't have those empty possessions or have those bad spells of basketball with him on the sideline. So can they stick to a strategy? Can they play smart, clean basketball for the opening 10 to 12 minutes of the game? Those will be questions that I think I want to see answered early on.
So one of the things that I will point out is that, obviously the margin of rebounding difference between the two teams, I think Auburn averages like 4 rebounds more. Arizona's at like 12. But the other thing is turnovers. Arizona's been a little sloppy with the ball. William Reed in the chat says, Saul, great shirt. Appreciate it. That's my No Easy Buckets custom-made Kevin Parham shirt, which I need to put in a package and send to him, because he saw me wearing this and he wants it. So I'm like, all right, I'll just make one for you and send it to you. Anyway, Arizona's been a little sloppy with the ball. They average about 13 turnovers a game. Auburn, to their credit, as haphazard as sometimes they do play, they only average 9 turnovers a game. And anytime you're in single digits, when you're talking about a high-level college basketball team, that's pretty good. And so Auburn is not the careless type. They won't just throw the ball away, just to try and make things happen. They're pretty reserved in terms of, they're pretty measured, I should say, in terms of their delivery of the basketball. But to your point, Arizona's defense can ratchet that up a little bit. And I think overall, I like Arizona in this matchup. I think it's a good matchup for them, and it's the only time Arizona fans get to see a quality basketball team come into McKale this season until we get to the Big 12. So I'm excited for this matchup.
Yeah, Arizona's had the opportunity to be giant killers in neutral environments and also in the Den when they went to Connecticut to face a quality tournament team, which I think Auburn will end up being a tournament team. To have one come into your own living room and the fans and the crowd get to focus and get loud again, I think that'll be great for Arizona. So, yeah, this is the first big home game. So Arizona's got a nice little homestand, and hopefully they can take advantage of the home court advantage. But more importantly, keep developing that well-rounded, what I call Swiss Army knife, where everybody's contributing. Depending on the status of the young man with the rolled ankle, it just depends on how many, if he can go. If he can't go, you're looking at 20 or 30 minutes added to the rotation for Aristo to come in and start his productivity. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be fun. We'll get to more of Auburn in a little bit. But before we do that, I do want to mention that we do have our Cyber Monday sale going on right now. And so if you are a diehard, you can take advantage of that sale as we speak. If you are not signed up to be a diehard, I mean, what's keeping you? What's holding you back? I mean, sign up, become a diehard. It's only $26 for just $2 a month, less than a cup of coffee. You can get some premium content delivered straight to you on a day-to-day basis. My guy Kevin behind the scenes, I want to give a shout out to Kevin. Kevin is a jack of all trades. He produces not only this show, but he also helps produce his daily show 5 days a week, PHNX Wildcats. He also writes and I'm pretty sure he cooks. I'm pretty sure that he fixes airplanes on the weekend. I'm pretty sure he has a side hustle. Like he does everything. Like he
What
does a
kind of
million things.
airplanes? Oh, airplane. What
I'm
do you
kidding.
real airplanes?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. But he's a
Oh, I'm
jack
just
of all
saying.
trades, is what I'm trying to say. So get yourself a diehard membership. Join us in the Discord, because the Discord was on and popping this last weekend when we went up north. Well, I say up north where I live, and absolutely mollywopped ASU. I mean, listen, it wasn't close. It wasn't even close. It wasn't close. It was close in the first half because we were kind of stepping on our own toes. But once we cleaned that stuff up, second half, it wasn't close. We dominated that entire game, 23-7. The Territorial Cup comes back home. And shout out to Coach Brennan and the whole squad. They did a fantastic job this entire season. Corey, you and I were at the last home game watching them stomp Baylor. Even though the crowd wasn't where I feel like it should be, especially not Big 12 level, and also especially not considering that you have a 9-win football team in the house. It was still loud. It was still proud. It was still raucous. It was jumping. And, I think that's a good sign for the future for sure.
Yeah, I don't think anybody had this Arizona team pegged for 9 wins. Definitely, we had to have a chance to have Coach Brennan on during the Norfolk State game. We chopped it up for about 5 or 10 minutes. 5 or 10 minutes seemed like 10 minutes, but he's just a ball of energy. And to post, 8 wins and then go get that win up north. You're right. It could have been a much better, bigger win had Arizona had more ball security in the first half, but at no point did we not push them all around the field, defensively, offensively, with the run plays. We were gashing them. We just weren't cashing in. But man, what a November for Arizona athletics on a whole. Just great performances everywhere.
Yeah. Women, men, basketball go undefeated. The football team goes undefeated in the month of November. We win the national championship in the triathlon. That was fantastic. I mean, it was definitely November to remember. And to go back to my former point, you can get more insight on that November to remember as my guy Kevin continues to push and write and do great things, and all the people at PHNX do great stuff, and you can become the ultimate sports fan. 67% off, 6-7. Become a diehard for only $26 in your first year, plus a free t-shirt and merch discounts all year long, plus event discounts. The bigger we can build this U of A community, the bigger we can start to make these events and really put things together. We've done some game watches. We've done some takeovers up here in Tempe a couple times. I would love to do a takeover at an Arizona football game next year. I'm going to buy season tickets because I'm on the train. And I was on the train. I want to let you know, Corey, I have a personal story. I was on the train last year when I was in Kansas, first time meeting Coach Brennan in person. Like, I've interviewed him, but I never got a chance to meet in person. He was there at the game in Lawrence. He was supporting U of A. And I thought we had a mutual friend, a guy that you know by the name of Brett Hansen. And I thought Brett told me that he was good friends with Brett, with Brennan. He was not. He just said that he had known him, but he had not. I misread the text. Okay. So I see Coach Brennan, and I'm like, "Hey, Coach, we got a mutual friend and Brett Hansen." He was just like, "Who?" I was like, "Brett Hansen." He was around like because he was the SID for Arizona men's basketball when they won the national championship. And he was like, "Oh yeah, Brett. Yeah." Lo and behold, I don't think he knew who Brett was. But he was so nice. He was so courteous. He made me feel like I wasn't a fool for saying that. We had a good chuckle, and he took off, and I went back to the press box. But he's a good dude, and I think at the end of the day, the one thing that I do like, and I'll put this together: ASU and U of A, both programs are in a really good position with two dudes that absolutely want that particular school to thrive like no other. And I think for all of us, this rotating coaching carousel that continuously happens, and we just experienced it with Jed Fish a couple years ago, I think we all are better off if we have some people that actually give a damn about the colors that we love to run with. And I think both schools have that. And I think the future is going to be fun and bright for both programs. Hopefully more territorial cups that are ranked in the future, because that was fun.
Yeah. I mean, you hear that, Lane Kiffin? We don't want you at Arizona. So when you ready to change schools in 2 years, don't think about coming out west. We don't want you.
No, we don't want you. We don't want you. So anyway, it's a fantastic time. In regards to just the overall basketball landscape, Corey, you've called a few games, not all Arizona games. What teams out there have kind of stood out to you in terms of like the high level of talent out there? Obviously you have the Houstons of the world who are perennially a very good squad. You have the Dukes of the world. Michigan is up there, I would say. Who's kind of stood out to you in terms of high level talent or teams to watch?
I've kind of cooled on the Zags a little. I think they're still a top 20 team, and they probably they could be an Elite 8 team. Michigan, the way they dismissed them really made me take a look at what Michigan is doing. Duke, I think, is a little top heavy. Anytime you have one player that's doing all of that, that's not good. It's not. You're one off night away from losing to Virginia Tech, in my opinion. I don't think, God forbid I work at the company, but ESPN's always heavy on Duke every year. It's always, regardless of what reality is, they're heavy on them. And I just don't see it. I don't see it. I know what everybody wants to see, but they have the luxury of, their non-conference is okay, but they're not going to play any dogs come late December, January, February. They just don't have many dogs on the schedule in the ACC. I mean, there's some, don't get me started. So anyway, North Carolina. But anyway, them damn Cougars at BYU, bro, watch out. Watch out. Sometimes they don't gel, but they're starting to trust each other, and that ball moves, and they're getting back, because they didn't look too good the first 3 or 4 games of the year. They were getting wins, but to me, it wasn't clean basketball. Now they're starting to play clean ball, and the shots are going in, and I think the freshmen's figured out how to play with the veterans, and then it's just they could be a handful. Anybody that's got to go to the Marriott Center in the Big 12, it's a coin flip for the top half of the league. You may come out with a win, you may get rocked, because they're good. They are really good. But other than that, I think as we get in these next 3 weeks, I'll believe that the AP polls come January 1, because I think there's still going to be some movement over the next 3 weeks. Is Arizona the number 2 team in the country? Statistically, yes. I think when you look at strength of schedule, yes. How do you measure them versus Purdue? You really can't. But that, votes are for politicians. They're not for athletes. Athletes don't give a damn about votes. You're not running for an election. You're trying to win a national championship. So, when you're really the number 2 team in the country, when you lose the national championship game, then you're the number 2 team in the country. But up until then, it's just people's opinions floating around in the air, little numbers they put in front of your team name to get everybody to tune in and watch the game. Sometimes that number can be a motivator. Hey, we're facing off against number 7, or, coaches will manipulate and use those things to motivate their guys. Everybody in the top 5 is coming out to practice every day, trying to convince their guys that we're not a top 5 team. We got tons of work to do. We got tons of improvements to make. Everybody outside the top 5 is, hey, we're a number 1 team in the country. Let's go out and prove it. And it's all just narrative telling and spinning. But I do think Arizona's definitely proven with its non-conference wins that it's one of the top 2 teams in the country. I don't think you can deny that. I don't think there's any other teams that could have gone the places Arizona has gone and gotten those same results. There's not a lot of teams, maybe a Houston, maybe Purdue, but other than that, the guys behind Arizona deserve to be behind Arizona.
Yeah, no, I listen, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I will go through the top 10 real quick, and I will give you my impression, because I don't get a chance to really talk about this very much. So I'm going to take that opportunity now, because we already went through our whole Auburn scouting report. So Purdue, I don't know what it is. And I apologize for any Purdue purist out there that's about to hear what I'm about to say. And I might very well put my foot in my mouth at some point down the season. I don't know. Hopefully I don't. But I just absolutely am not a believer in Purdue. I think they're fraudulent. And so that's just my opinion. Not a big fan. Anyway, Michigan, I think they're solid. Duke, I think you're right. Top heavy. Those freshmen are not as good as the freshmen last year. We'll see how long that lasts. They got to play Michigan State in a pretty big battle this weekend, which should be fun. That'll be 4 versus 7. Michigan State, always solid with Tom Izzo, who I believe is retiring after this season, which is a pretty big story. Or maybe it's not. I might have got. Don't quote me on that. Louisville, fantastic start to their season as well. Just mollywopped Kentucky earlier in the year in that rivalry game. And to your point, in the conference, Houston, BYU, Iowa State, who just happen to be 8, 9, and 10 in the AP poll right now.
Houston is six Big 12 teams in the top 20. Is there 6 Big 12 teams in the top 25?
Right now, there's 4. Let's see, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6. Yeah,
not a bad conference.
Solid.
Not a bad conference.
I mean, it's solid. And then so with Houston, they're always going to be solid. They have a coach that warrants them always having the respect and the ability to be able to play high level basketball. BYU, I'm leaning one way in terms of frauds. However, I also acknowledge that, AJ DeBonsa is a phenomenal talent. And if he finds that streak towards the end of the year, he could easily carry a team. I just haven't seen it to the degree that I would need to see it to believe it could happen. Kind of like what Cooper Flagg did a little bit last year. And I think, listen, they're big on Keita. Keita saves them so many games down low in the paint. And when they finally match up against another team that has bigs and athleticism, Keita ain't going to be as effective as they need him to be able to dominate the paint like he does. It just is what it's going to be. And that's how I think Arizona is going to have the advantage over BYU down the road. Iowa State, to me, Lipsy is a fantastic talent, good point guard. They're always a solid program. Overall, I would say that your kind of front runners are Arizona. I think Michigan, Louisville are a few of those front runners. And heck, you know what? I'll make it up to you guys. Purdue, hey, you're number one for a reason. Until you lose, it'll stay that way. So there's that.
Yeah, I'm calling fraud on Purdue as well, man. Come on, man. Like, and I'm not a hater, man. I give credit where credit is due, but I'm like, how y'all end up number one? Like, what giants have y'all killed? Like, why are y'all the number one team in the country? Like, it's great for debate, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe they put them up there to keep things spicy, but nah, man, I don't see it. And when I see Purdue, I see a team that is sound fundamentally. They move the ball well. They've got good players, but I just think when it gets down to the trenches, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know why I feel the way that I feel, but I'm not buying Purdue at all. And if I do buy Purdue, I'm keeping the receipt because I may have to exchange it.
Maybe. This is who Purdue has beaten so far this year, okay? Ranked opponents. They did beat Alabama by 7, and Alabama shoots the ball as soon as they step off the bus. That's all they do. They just chuck and duck threes all game long. That's going to be a fun game next week, by the way. And we'll get to that next week because that's what they do. So they beat them by 7. They did stomp all over Texas Tech by 30. So I'll give them credit. Neutral site game as well. And then their other ranked matchup is the next one, which will be another Big 12 foe in Iowa State. And that comes up on Saturday as well. Saturday has some good basketball games going on. Arizona, Auburn, Michigan State, Duke, and then Iowa State, Purdue.
So you telling me Purdue's best win is a night where they caught Texas Tech slipping? That's their best win.
No, their best win is against Bama. Bama's 12. Texas Tech is 19.
But they beat Texas Tech by 30, though, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like they really hammered them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it's the you got the position until you lose it, I guess. You know, I call it the old Tony Romo theory. You know,
I just don't know how they came into the season number 1 ranked off of what?
Off of somebody on the keyboard.
They lost in the tournament to Houston, and Houston is as good as anybody else in the country right now.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's just crazy. These things. They're just
you know what I call them? You know what a post turtle is? You're a guy from Kansas. So imagine you're in Kansas, back when you was in Manhattan, Kansas. You're driving along the highway and you have the fences, you know, the wire fences with the posts every few feet. And you're driving by and you see a turtle on the post. It's just sitting up there on the post, arms and legs flailing in the air. The first thing you know, that turtle don't belong there. Second thing you know, somebody put that turtle there. They are post turtles. Purdue is a post turtle. They don't belong there. Somebody put them there. I encourage you all to use that word throughout your day. Add that to your vocabulary. Post turtles. That's what they are.
Kevin, we're going to need, after each of these episodes, we're going to have to clip some of these sayings that Corey has. Because that is, I mean, first we talk about
Midwest, baby. That's what we call the Midwest.
Like you call Jaden Bradley the trunk, and now you call Purdue the post turtles, which is phenomenal. I love it. It's just funny. It's funny to me.
Hey, I'm gonna get a shirt with Jaden Bradley picture on it, and when I'm out there and somebody got a problem, I'll be like, "Yo, we got a problem." Because don't make me. We got a problem. Don't make me. And under the shirt gonna be Jaden's face. It's gonna let people know. Don't make me get the cacao in here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, I don't want no problems, man. I
don't want no fight. Hey, I keep that JB on me, baby. Keep that JB on me. Huh?
Oh man. Well, hey folks, we do appreciate you joining us on another episode of McKale Madness. Corey, you got anything else to add?
Not much, man. Just go Cats, and let's make sure that McKale is rocking, because that home court advantage is real. These guys have been road warriors. They deserve that great positive energy Saturday. So if you're going to the game, get your cough drops, get your hot tea, and wear your voice out, making sure the Cats can hear you. Give us that real McKale Center advantage. Guys will love it.
I'm going to have a proud dad moment because my daughter has never been to a men's basketball game. She's and this is her first time in the zoo, and she's going to be there rocking, and she's going to feel the experience of McKale at a tilt. And I'm so excited for her to enjoy that and experience that. I'm excited for us because, listen, good basketball is good basketball, especially when you can get it in McKale, and those games are always rocking. So hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week. Next Thursday is our next episode for those of you. Also, man, we didn't do anything for the kids today, man. We didn't even get $50 of donations, nothing. We didn't get special guests, no TSPL scholarship, nothing. We couldn't have.
But you know what, though? That's cool because I'm a scholarship to 3 kids anyway, and I'm gonna kick in $100. So
look at that.
I'm gonna put the 100 up and let the kids come in. So we're good.
Look at that. See, Corey, all about the kids, always has been. And we appreciate that. For all you guys, we'll see you next week. Until next time, peace.
We all silly like the mayor.